asked so many times this weekend if I had a boyfriend. And I say, why would I want a boyfriend when I've got about 20-year-olds on my team? A big vision and thinking big. What does that really mean? Making small differences. What does that mean? This business, this environment, these people, our leaders, will direct every single one of you. But you are going to decide what your big is. Not Cameron's, not Corey's, Brendan, Jeremy, Susan, Kevin, mine, yours. It's exactly 19 years ago that I first got invited to a BPM. So I'm going to share with you what my big was, and hopefully it's going to help some of you relieve a bit of pressure. Why am I saying that? The last couple of years, I've had many of you in this room from different hierarchies call me, text me, come to me, frustrated, crying, and wondering if this WFG thing is for you. And here's what I discovered in the conversations. I also became a very good listener. You see, comparing yourself to someone else, how much sense does that really make when you all come from different backgrounds and identity? How much sense does that make? Other conversations. I'm just too old. I'm too young. Life is too short. Why would I take time away from my children? Why would I want to grind? Life just isn't fair. I'll never pay those credit cards. If I quit my job, I won't be able to pay my bills. You know what, Yvonne? I recruited 6 people last month, and I haven't closed a piece of business. And only 2 of them show up. Are you sure this works? Oh man, Yvonne, guess what? I'm going through a divorce. I'm just not sure if it's all worth it. I just hate my job so bad right now. I'm going through a burnout. My spouse won't support me. Oh, my husband was diagnosed with cancer, and he needs me at home. See, I've heard it all. I've heard it all. But guess what? I've walked your journey. I walked your journey on all of the above, except I'm too young. Let's skip that one. And I'm going through divorce. I hung on to that. I was 50, 19 years ago. I was burnt out from a 30-year career at the bank. We had no money. We had max credit cards. We still had a mortgage. We lived in the overdraft. We had saved $60,000 in RSPs. I woke up every morning with anxieties. I failed the Canadian Securities exam 10 times that the bank required me to pass in order to give me a raise from $30,000 a year to $40,000. The WFG presentation was over my head when it came to the Rule of 72 and this 4 pillars thing. But I heard 2 things that night. I heard 91% of Canadians are not making it. and I heard we recruit. Those two things made sense to me. Just those two things. My family was a 91%, and the institution I worked for no longer recruited. As a matter of fact, many advisors were being let go because they were only interested in the 9%. You see, I could not tell Jeremy, my 10-year-old at the time, that he could no longer play baseball or hockey or basketball or volleyball or badminton, which all cost money. Sports is what made him live after being born 10 years after 4 siblings. His life wasn't easy either. I could not tell my daughter, who was 18, that her opera career had to end. I could not tell her that she couldn't go study with the best opera teacher in Oberlin, Ohio. I couldn't tell her that. I could not watch my husband come back from the federal government, his job, with a tight throat he can hardly swallow because of stress. I could not live with a maxed credit card any longer. And I could no longer set foot in a bank as a compliance officer / manager where everyone hated me. Those became my vision of hope. WFG is all I had left. Tim Horton wasn't going to do it. Starbucks wasn't going to do it. Retail wasn't going to do it. So all I had left in me was to take a leap of faith. God had to become my best friend. So I got started. I compared myself to others. They passed the LQP and I couldn't. They recruited. My first 25 calls were, "You are out of your mind. Why would you leave the bank when you're almost close to your pension?" 25 no's in a row. Once I recruited, they didn't show either. I considered myself too old. I also said, is it really worth it to sacrifice my 10-year-old? You need to know that sleep training was not our language back then. We didn't sleep train. We knelt down beside our children's bed and we sang them songs until they fell asleep. Sometimes it was one song, sometimes it was 10. And now I'm getting into a business that I have to go out in the evening. I had to tell Jeremy that I could only sing 2. So as I'm leaving his bedroom, Mama, please don't go. Don't go, sing me one more song. I said, buddy, I have to go. But I promise you I'll buy you a hockey jersey. I walk out the front door. Corey is waiting for me in the car. I get in the car. Where were you? You're late again. I know it was hard for Corey to say that because he's a kind man. Now I also know he was trying to make me mentally tough. Here's what I'd say. I worked for 30 years. Why would I want to start a business and work hard again? Why would I want to do that? I'll never pay my credit card, so who cares? If I quit my job, I will no longer get benefits, and I'll have to pay 1% more for my mortgage. Oh darn, my husband just got diagnosed with cancer. And I've been a widow for 10 years now. is when I get, wow, Yvonne, how did you do it? See, you can't do this business with anxieties. Doesn't work. I took care of that one day at a time, sometimes 1 hour at a time, by reading Slide Edge, which I hadn't read a book in 30 years. Don't like reading. I have a high school diploma. My attitude sucked, big time. Anger I carried for years was draining me. Had to take care of that. I got myself a psychologist and a hypnotist. They told me to show up to everything, not sometimes, all the time. Do you think I loved it when Cameron called an emergency meeting Sunday evening at 8 at the office? Remember now, it's 19 years ago. Zoom is not here. 8 o'clock Sunday night, just when I'm putting Jeremy to bed. They told me to go to every event. Do you think I felt like going when I knew we had no money? I never missed them and discovered after every event, I just became a little bit different. Just a little bit different. And I started to attract good things in my life. Just little by little. Do you think I love Vegas? I'm sorry, I don't. MGM and the casinos, I can never find my room. Never my room. This year I'm going alone. Hate that place. But did I miss any? Just one, in 2012, when my husband was diagnosed terminal a week before. And that year they presented the $1 million trophy to all the agents that had earned $1 million through their WFG career. Happened to be my 8th year. I sacrificed Jeremy's hockey game and baseball games. I sacrificed not having my house clean all the time. I sacrificed family events. My spouse was not always supportive. Do you think he liked it when I would come back home at 10 p.m. because Corey kept me back in his car to tell me to shut up when he was training me? You're not allowed to speak, Yvonne. How many times do I have to tell you that? But Corey, it's my market. I don't give a shit. Okay? You have to shut your mouth. And I'm walking at 10 o'clock at night in my house. My husband's waiting for me. And he'd say, are we still married? And I said, do you want to do this? And I went to bed. My 12th license back in 2006 to become SMD, yes, we needed 12. He did not have spousal support. He was one of my best agents. He decides to quit. And I had to wait 6 months to get another license to become SMD. When my husband passed, my whole team quit. So what's the difference between you and me? It's not age. It's not married, divorced, widowed. It's not, well, Yvonne, you're good at this because you come from the industry. Well, that's a bag of bull shit. I knew nothing from the industry. Zero, just hard work. Maybe paperwork. Fun that was. So the only difference, I just persevered. I prayed, okay? Wasn't sure if I had any knees left. I cried, but I was not going to give up on my vision of hope. It's funny how that works. These sacrifices, this vision, which was simply a son and a daughter, Jeremy and Natalie, and their team, are buying my life back today. Woo! It took 13 years never our plan, God's plan, and it's His timing. I'm going to end on a few making a difference stories. One of my 7 brothers always wanted to die with a paid mortgage. March of 2020, when we know what hit us, I drove to Bragg Creek one Sunday morning after church, and I spent 4 hours writing new goals down. And one of them was, one day, I'm going to help one of my 7 brothers retire. So this one brother, his mortgage was paid off 10 years ago by cashing out his RSPs. That was not my advice, by the way. So they settled with CPP and OAS and GIS and cleaned houses to supplement that income. But as most baby boomers do, we use the equity of our homes to help our kids. So he got a small mortgage to help his daughter. She couldn't qualify for a mortgage on her own because she had made different choices in her life. 4 months ago, this brother got very ill. He called me and he said, Yvonne, would you help my daughter? He says, I would really like to die without a mortgage. I called the mortgage broker. 3 institutions declined her. We kept fighting. We knew there were credit issues. We also knew there was a $25,000 debt sitting in collection. I just chose to take care of that so that mortgage broker could find a lending institution to approve her. Long story short, we got it done. I don't make $1 million. I don't make $500,000. On my way to 250. But this is one small thing I was able to do because of the grind of this business. Woo! How good do you think I felt? I don't share this story to my entire family because I have 62 nieces and nephews. Marlise Kelsey is one of them. Thank you, Marlise, for making your own money. Okay? But we have lots of work to do with this family. But I could make a small difference. Had another nephew and niece who wanted to cancel their ULs that I had put together for them 15 years ago when they had 1 child. Now they have 6. Their fridge and stove broke down at the same time. They needed the money from their ULs to buy the appliances. I refused to have them cancel their life insurance because of my great nieces and nephews that they brought into this life. I bought them the fridge and stove. Woo! Difference. Last weekend, I went grocery shopping for Easter to cook for my family. I came out of the grocery store with a $500 grocery bill. I texted Jeremy and Natalie and said, isn't it nice that I can spend this amount of money on food to be able to gather my family together and not be worried about paying the rest of my bills? Small difference. I urge you not to compare yourself. Just decide what you want. Young or old, it's not easy at any age. For young people, you do have an advantage though. You have time on your side. And WFG needs you. You are the next wave that Real is working so hard at keeping for you. Working with head office to continually make sure you are in good hands. But you will be swayed by other brokerage firms because we trained you, we set you up, we got you licensed. but they're going to try and show you a better compensation model. It will be a huge temptation. We're already seeing it in this team, aren't we, Brendan? I beg you to learn our compensation model. There's nothing else out there. For older people that don't have as much time, think about possibilities supplementing your OAS and CPP pensions without having to work at Canadian Tire or Rona or Walmart till 10 p.m. at night. I see those people there. Building a small book, just a small book over 8 years. It's just 8 years or so to get some passive income. The business is waiting for you, older people, if you think you're too old. See, no one at the bank is taking care of 20 grand in RSPs. No one. Money coming into your bank account here and not really knowing where it's coming from is a gift. It's a gift that we earned because we had a big and we persevered. Hey, if I can make a small difference in your life, I'm a shoulder to cry on. I've got the strength now. Sometimes a hug is all you need. I am blessed. I was given strength from above. I will die with a license. I will die with a license. But my children know that I'm living to 110. So, what's your big? What's your big? You grind here, or you grind at a job. Landon said this when he was training our team the other day. A job is quick money to hardly pay your bills. And WFG takes a little longer to never worry about money again. Woo!